It's Friday, March 1st, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On Barnstable Today, we learn more about a new boat fee, save the date for the youth job fair, and dust off the golf clubs for another season on the links. First up, municipal news and notes. Mercy Otis Warren, born in West Barnstable in 1728, was a playwright, a historian, a pioneer in women's rights, a champion of liberty, an advocate of the Bill of Rights, and a patriot. In an era where it was unusual for women to be educated, much less to emerge as a leader, her advocacy for the cause of patriotism and central role for women in society was remarkable. Do you know a woman who exemplifies the virtues of Mercy Otis Warren? Nominate her today for the Mercy Otis Warren Cape Cod Woman of the Year Award at www.barnstablecounty.org. Spring is right around the corner, and Director of Golf Operations Bruce McIntyre joined Sarah Beal in studio to highlight the upcoming golf season at our 2 municipal courses.
Bruce, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to talk all things golf, and it's finally March, so hopefully that means the weather's going to start turning and the courses are going to be open. I know Hyannis stays open year-round.
Yep.
OBF is going to be opening soon. The first thing I want to talk about this morning is there was recently a golf summit held here at Town Hall between all the local municipal courses, golf directors, town managers, finance directors. The chamber was there. What can you tell us about this golf summit?
Well, I can tell you that it was the first of. We've never had a golf summit. As directors of golf, a number of us have gotten together yearly, multiple times per year to discuss our, how we can make golf on Cape Cod better as a whole. We've never gotten together with the addition of golf committee members and or administrators and finance directors, et cetera. So it was a first of its kind. I thought it was a well-attended meeting. The town of Yarmouth was gracious enough to bring along their consultant, J.J. Keegan. J.J. Keegan is a world-renowned golf strategist. The town of Yarmouth employed him to help them with some of the things that they're trying to go through in their town. And so he came and gave a talk to everyone present about the status of golf and how to improve the golf business on the Cape. Primarily the thrust of it was, how can we as a group of municipal golf course operators benefit each other? How can we work together? If you go down to Myrtle Beach or you go to Ocean City, and the list goes on and on of areas where multiple golf courses work together, they share tee time reservation systems, and the idea is to create destination golf locations. Now, Cape Cod has the second largest concentration of golf courses of anywhere in the country with the exception of Myrtle Beach. Wow. So we have the golf courses here. And we find ourselves very competitive against one another because a lot of times we're vying for the same golfers.
Right.
But from the aspect of tourism golf, stay and play golf with hotels, motels, and bolstering, bringing in people here more to affect our economy, outside of golf, this was a novel idea, and I think there's a lot of merit to it, and I think it's probably, it's a little late this year to incorporate big changes. We're all in the middle of our fiscal year. So we figured we would meet in the fall after the busy season, and everybody would have a little bit of time to go back and look at all the information, and hopefully maybe next fall start to think of something for the following year that would be a cooperative marketing plan for municipal golf on Cape Cod, and who is going to be the gatekeeper, so to speak, of that. And that's maybe when we bring in the chambers of commerce and things like that. They can help us market the golf courses, but they can be that outside person who's not in, Barnstable versus Yarmouth or whatever.
Right.
So it was a good meeting all around. I think it was an eye-opening meeting for a number of people who work for municipalities and never really got exposed to golf and really don't know what goes on in the world of golf and how we do what it is we do. So I think it was very beneficial.
Wonderful. And the town of Barnstable is really lucky that we have 2 golf courses. Yep. And anything that helps get that information out to the public, I think, is wonderful. Just
make sure everybody, we have 2 municipal golf in the town of Barnstable,
right.
but we have We have 9 golf
Wow,
courses
I
in
can't
the town of Barnstable.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Golf is big in town. They just might not play at the public level. We have a number of what I would consider gold star private clubs. Well, it's a destination for people to play there as well.
Right.
That might come in the second home ownership, in an area that's more inclined for high-end golfing, so to speak. So there's a lot of golf going on in Barnstable.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Another thing we want to talk about this morning is Jesse Scheckman was recently named he got the Merchandiser of the Year award from New England PJ, which is amazing.
It is.
Jesse hasn't even been with the town that long, about 4 or 5 years.
4 years.
And he's turned around the Hyannis Pro Shop.
4 years, and is more than doubled Pro Shop sales. And it is a huge award. He won the Cape Cod chapter of the PGA Golf Professional of the Year award in his second year at Hyannis. And that, we bring in the tournaments that he runs and the leagues that he's developed. And he was recognized for that. This takes it one step further. It represents 750 golf pros throughout New England at 450 different golf courses.
Wow.
And there's there's the public, the private, and the resort category. Jesse won for the public category, but that's huge. Public category, Pine Hills is a public course.
Right.
Quincy, Granite Links in Quincy is a public golf course, but they aren't like a municipal. So it's kudos to Jesse. He's done a super job. He's created a great little stream of business down there at Hyannis Golf Course, and he's just done a super job.
That's
and
awesome.
It's great to see him recognized for it, too.
Yeah, well deserved.
Well deserved.
That's great. We also want to talk about, so the USGA has changed some rules to the play of golf.
To a lot of them.
Yes. And so we're gonna talk about this further as the season gets going.
Correct.
But let's just do a quick little overview of what some of these changes are and the things that people need to be aware of coming into the golf season.
Well, it's a staggering amount of changes. It's not just a few simple changes. The onus is to make play a little bit quicker. We all know that, we hear about, oh my God, it took me 5 hours to get around. Let's try to speed up the game of golf a little bit. What they've done is reduced penalties for hitting balls in certain areas, whether it be in a lateral hazard or an out of bounds, and the penalty may be decreased. Leaving the flagstick on the green while you putt, forever, the flagstick had to be out. Well, now you can leave it in. And if you've watched any pro tournaments lately, it's really weird to actually watch them leaving the flagstick in for the first time. Incidentally grounding your club in a bunker, which anytime you ground your club in a bunker would be a penalty. That club does not touch sand until you swing through. Now, if there is some incidental, you're not going to get a one-stroke penalty. So there are certain things in there makes it for the average golfer a little bit more fair and definitely quicker. Those are the easy ones. Now, there's a lot there to look at, and I'm not going to get into it. Suffice it to say, both of our golf professionals are taking 3 classes this winter to learn the new rules and how to apply them and implement them. When that is all done, in April, we're going to be having a rule seminar at Hyannis Golf Course for the pros to go over all of the rules changes. I mean, we give out 500 rule books a year. Well, those old rule books are good for fire right now. So the new rule books are here. If you've ever read the rules of golf, it'll certainly scratch your head. So whether or not this does what they're hoping to do, that remains to be seen. But it's certainly going to be an interesting year for all golf courses because the people are going to come in with different rules. What about this? What about this? A golf pro is going to be necessary at a lot of tournaments to be able to make a ruling somewhere along the line as to whether or not there's a penalty to be incurred, or the new rules cover it. So it's going to be an interesting year on that regard.
I would say so. When
Yeah.
you set the date in April, make sure you let us know.
Absolutely.
We'll let our
Yeah.
viewers know.
No doubt.
Where can people go right now if they wanted to look into what some of the new rules are?
I would go straight to the USGA website.
Okay.
I mean, there's so much information coming out, it's almost overload. But go to the USGA website. If you don't do that, in the next couple of weeks, all the new rule books are coming into all the clubs all over the place. I know we just got ours. And I'd say if you couldn't find a place to have someone explain them or go over them with you, I think that's going to be a rare occurrence. There's going to be a multitude of opportunities with all of these golf clubs and their members and golfers to go over the rules. It's universal. So
sounds like a lot of big changes. So
a lot of big changes. Yeah.
And we also want to talk about, you're in the middle of your membership drive for this
Absolutely.
upcoming season.
Yeah.
What do people need to do to get their memberships? How much
Well,
are they?
If you're already a member, first of all, annual passes run from April 1st through March 31st. So you don't have to renew now, tentatively speaking. Your membership is good until April 1st or
Right.
March 31st. However, we do different things along the season, incentives and things like that to get people to maybe join earlier. Barnstable.golf will have a rate sheet. We have so many categories of resident and non-resident. The resident fee this year, a resident annual pass holder is $1,070. For the over 80, it's $535. Junior golf for residents of the town of Barnstable, and juniors are being, under the age at which they could drive. $130 for both golf courses.
Can't beat that.
Students, and that's up through college, as a full-time college student, $260. We created a young adult membership category a few years ago, and I think this year we had to increase the rates on everything, but I think they just got up to $600 this year. I mean, that's under 30. So a young adult under 30. Our non-residents are higher than that by probably $100 across the board. But our non-resident pass holder growth has been higher than our resident pass holder growth. Last year we had 1,201 annual pass holders of all categories, which was the highest number we've ever had. So our annual pass holders and our membership numbers are really good. Weather is the driving force. If it's really, really bad and nasty out all spring long, a lot of people are going to wait. We also have noticed over the last few years that more and more of our golfers have become snowbirds, and they're down in Florida and they don't come back till April or May. And instead of waiting and thinking, geez, I'm not getting my full 12 months out of my annual pass, they look at it as, I'm coming to the Cape in May and this is what I'm going to pay to play golf in the town of Barnstable until I go back down south in October and November.
Right.
And they're happy with that. So. Yeah, it's renewal season. There are memberships available at each golf shop. There's memberships available at HYCC. You can go online and download a membership at barnstable.golf. Any questions, and certainly call either golf course, but we make it pretty easy.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Lots of places you can do that.
No doubt.
And the last thing we want to touch on is Old Barnstable will be opening early March.
Yes.
Soft opening.
Soft opening. The goal is tentatively Monday, March 4th, to open the golf shop, the pro shop, get things ready for the season. The golf course, on the other hand, is still going to be weather pending. It looks like we've been in and out of this weather schedule pattern here, so we could be open one day and close the next. Right. It's the way Hyannis has been all winter, and we would certainly like to think that this spring versus last spring, where we had 4 nor'easters in March and April, that we'd have a little bit more better weather. I think courses be open more and available to the golfers more than last year. That's the hope, anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
The weather
Absolutely.
will be nice
I'm
here
hoping.
on out.
Yeah.
And everyone will go and get their membership.
Woo-hoo, you got it.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Bruce, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Kayaks, rowboats, and dinghies left at town waterways will now be required to have a permit sticker. Assistant Harbor Master Derek Lawson has the details. It's not too early to start thinking about putting that boat back in the water or that dinghy on the beach. With me today, Derek Lawson, Assistant Harbor Master. Derek, it's kind of going to be spring soon.
It is. We're getting there.
We're getting there,
Yeah.
right? March 1st. You know, it's not too early to start thinking about stuff. And there's been some changes recently to some of the regulations that, not changes to the regulations, but some fees attached to them.
That's correct. Chapter 430-2, which is the small vessel storage on town property. We've had that for the past couple of years. Waterways put that in back in 2013. Any vessel under the size of 12 feet with a 5-foot beam is required to have a sticker on there or your name on there. We've kind of modified it this year, in which we're actually going to be selling permits for these folks to have their property on town property.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit and kind of figure out what that is.
Sure.
So if you have a mooring and you have a boat on one of the beaches for your mooring,
Any town way to water,
Okay.
you are required to purchase a permit to keep your vessel at that location.
Okay.
If you're a mooring permit holder, it would be $25. If you're a non-mooring permit holder, it's going to be $50.
Okay, and those are going to be sold where?
At the Harbor Master Department, they'll be going on sale here within the next month. We're obviously going to be advertising this, and it will be clearly stated at all town ways to water.
Okay, and will the mooring folks get notification of this, or is it just going to be this ad hoc communications to them?
No, anyone with an existing email address that is current will send out an email blast,
Okay.
and anyone that doesn't have an email address will try and give them a call, let them know this change.
Okay, and this is all town ways to water
All
that you
town
would
ways
leave
to
a
water.
dinghy or a small boat at?
That is correct.
Okay.
Each year for the past couple of years, we go and we monitor how many are out there. In the past couple of years, it's been right around 400 throughout the town.
Wow.
So Ropes Beach in Katuitt is a very big area where folks go and leave their kayaks, and that's usually where the most of these vessels are stored.
Right, kind of like a mooring, but on land.
Correct. Yep.
Right. So they'll get the permit. Is there going to be something to affix to their boat?
Yeah, basically it's similar to a mooring permit. You just stick it in a good location. We're not telling you where to stick because it could be underwater at times.
Sure.
Just so it's noticeable, and when we come by, we can check it off. It's also very important for safety on the water. I know last year there was a couple occasions when dinghies were found, floating out in the middle of Lewis Bay, for example.
Right.
And if we have a sticker on there that we can go back to our database, make a few phone calls to find out if somebody's missing or not, that could, stop, a big search and rescue case. So.
Right, and it's also time on your part too to manage all of these townways to water too. So having more boats than really should be there is something that's time consuming for folks like you, right?
It is. We'd rather be on the water than
Right.
monitoring all the vessels on the land. But this is really important for us for safety reasons, and that way we can just reach out to somebody, make a few phone calls, and make sure that they're safe.
Okay, and the cost again was?
It is $25 for mooring permit holders and
Okay.
$50 for anyone else.
Okay, excellent. And you want to touch upon just a little bit of safety. The weather's going to start to get nice. We're hopeful. Actual life jackets are still required through a certain period of time, right?
That is correct. Right now, they're required until May 15th. The water, as you know, is very, very cold still. And we've had a mild winter, and hopefully we have an early spring. Folks may want to get back out on the water, do some kayaking. But it's still, you must wear your life jacket until May 15th.
Right. And we have noticed, too, that, folks out there, if they're shellfishing or especially if you're shellfishing with the big waders, having a flotation device on is going to help you if you do get swept with one of those waves.
It definitely will. Also
Right.
handy is a knife.
Okay.
If they do fill up with water, a knife across the top of the two waders, make them go right off. So.
Excellent. Great safety tips. And time to get permits for those little boats.
Yes, they are. We'll be selling them at the office at 1189 Finney's Lane, and we'll be glad to help you out.
Excellent. Thanks so much,
All right,
Derek.
thanks, Paul.
Do you have a teenager who wants to work this summer? Perhaps looking for their first job? The Barnstable Youth Commission's 3rd annual job fair is coming up on March 6th, next week, at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. it's not too early to start thinking about summer and that summer job for your teen. 14 to 18, do you have one of those at home? Well, with me today, Matthew McCauley, President of the Youth Commission. You've got the job fair coming up.
Yes, we do. Thank you for having us. So the Youth Job Fair is a program that we created for 14 to 18-year-olds. Basically, it's a actual job fair. We have employers coming in and setting up tables where students or the youth can walk around and introduce themselves and really try to find themselves a job, as well as we also provide other resources to help fill out forms. We have we have Warren Rutherford there to help with labor laws and kind of knowing what the restrictions are on a younger employee, and really just everything that a young person needs to get into the workforce.
So the Youth Commission took on this project. Why? Why do you think this is an important initiative for the Youth Commission?
So as the Youth Commission, we're supposed to be the voice of the youth and really address the concerns that we find most important. And one of those is being able to find a job and something to do over the summer. Some people just want to go out and go to the beach every day, but others do want to or need to help their families through working. So we decided, well, it can often be a challenge to find people who are hiring under the age of 18. So whatever we can do to help that is in our best interest.
Right. And somebody under the age of 18,
Yeah.
I'm sure, Lucas, you are a first time, you just entered the workforce.
Yeah.
What could a job fair do to really, like one that's focused on youth, what does it do for somebody like you who's just entering the workforce?
Well, I think when you apply for a job, it can really be overwhelming, and being at this job fair could give a way to guide you through all these forms and applications, and maybe a job that really suits you, and something that would really work for you over the summer.
Right, and when we talk about youth jobs, the list of employers here, there's quite a few and varied folks that are going to be, this is a real job fair, it's not just a mock thing, so there's real employers there looking to meet youth. Who are some of the folks that are going to be there?
So we really, like you mentioned, we have quite the variety. We have ranging from hawkers for the Cape Cod Times to perhaps some mild landscaping jobs or working even for the town or for the rec. Plenty of internship opportunities. We also have some volunteering opportunities and community service for those who are interested in that side of things as well.
Right.
And we do have more spots, of course. So if any businesses are still interested, we have a couple more tables, I believe, where they can reach out and join the fair.
So when we talk about really literally working for the summer, right? You said, some people want to do the whole, stay at the beach kind of thing. But when you're working for the summer, in some of the things that, for example, Warren Rutherford from the Executive Suite, he's going to be talking about interview skills as well. So there's going to be some real hands-on type of stuff?
Yep. So we do have a section dedicated really to what he's doing and basically giving sort of brief instructional seminars on being able to interview, what your rights are as a young employee, and just everything you need to know in kind of a quick, neat package to prepare you for whatever summer jobs you may encounter.
Right. And it seems it's a little early this year. Why is that?
So we received feedback last year from our vendors or for our employers, and they said that they wanted us to reach out earlier. They find it simpler to hire earlier in the season, so we pushed it as early as we could for our schedule, and we made it March 6th this year.
Okay, and where is this going to be held and what time?
This will be at the HYCC at 2:30 till 5 on March 6th.
On March 6th. What are you looking forward most? Have your job all picked out, Lucas?
Yeah, I've actually already applied for Barnstable Recreation. But it's really going to be interesting just to see how many kids turn up and see, because I think there's definitely a lot of kids in my grade who are going to be interested in a job this year.
Right.
So.
And some of these employers are actually going to be offering interviews once the kid expresses interest, I'm sure, right?
Sure, we've definitely had some experiences where kids will walk in, and if they make a good enough impression, they can be offered to schedule an interview right on the spot.
What's some advice you would give somebody to come to this job fair? Tie-dye T-shirt with ripped jeans, maybe appropriate?
I think definitely presentable. It doesn't have to be a tuxedo or something like that. But maybe something like I'm wearing, some khakis, a button-up shirt, golf shirt, so that way the employer sees that you are willing to be prepared for a job and show
Making
that
that
you're
effort
ready.
now shows that you can be a good employee later in the summer.
Right. Do you think people need resumes and things like that?
You don't necessarily have to have one. I mean, the employers come understanding that this could very well be your first opportunity whatsoever. So it's definitely not something that's required, but you could consider bringing one.
Excellent. Anything else you want folks to know?
I think that's about it. I mean, come and get a job.
Come and get a job. And that's the Youth Ready, Set, Work Youth Job Fair. It's Wednesday, March 6th, 2:30 to 5 p.m. at HYCC. If you're a business, there are just few tables left. You can contact Amy Harwood here at the town of Barnstable. Now for a look at upcoming meetings for boards, commissions, and committees. Comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Email us or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.